Can you stop saying Welking?
Welking?
Yeah, because it's every week you say Welking. Every fucking week.
That is
every week.
T-shirt. Welking.
Welking.
I don't say that.
Every week.
I don't say that.
Go back and watch every episode.
Say that.
I had to stop you one week and literally correct you the other week and say we had to retake the intro. Do you not remember this?
No, I say Welking.
Welking. Okay, you catch yourself doing in a second. Are you ready?
I'm glad you're recording this because you can shove this at the
I'm going to
beginning
put it
of
at
the
the
video
beginning.
now.
Are you ready? Here we go.
Welking.
Welcome to the In the Tank podcast. Get ready for an hour of hot 40k goodness coming in your ears. You're in the tank now, baby.
We are live.
We are indeed live. Welcome, everybody, to In the Tank. How you doing, my sweet cheeks?
I'm fantastic,
My
sexy. How are you?
my rotten soldier. I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. Excited to be here. Feeling so much better now that I don't have so much of a leaky asshole now.
Yeah.
So I'm doing all right. I'm fighting fit, ready to go. It's all good. It's all good.
And I'm currently coming to you live from the back of the Albert Hall, apparently.
Yeah, all down a big old hole.
I had to apologise in advance to you. I'm going to try and do as much post-production work as I can to limit this echo or reverb. But I am in the barn at the minute, and we're having the carpet fitted today, which will do a lot of corrective stuff to this to the reverb that we're currently experiencing. But I've had to take everything out of the room in order to get said carpet fitted, which has made the reverb 10 times worse than it was last week. So
to be fair, better to do it now than to fully get entrenched in and then need to take everything out again and then do it.
So I do apologise. I will do my best, but it might be a bit reverby.
You potentially have a date. I'm not going to make you say it out loud, but like you might have a date for your first
No, I
broadcast.
will say it out loud. Hopefully, it will be April the 5th, and hopefully, it will be with my boy Russ with the Angels. We shall see. That is the hopeful. As a Saturday. It'll be the Saturday night. We will be going live in the Battle Barn for the first time ever on stream in here. If for whatever reason some kind of piece of tech or something shits the bed, which it's quite likely to do so, we may have to push it back a week. But c'est la vie. It will be sometime in early April, but hoping for the 5th. So
that is so exciting. How are you feeling about that,
mate?
That must be quite emotional for you.
I'm pretty excited. Yeah.
So I was gonna give you like a really like gooey kind of like thing up, but you just went all like shilling.
No, so just to say, if anyone is just listening to this, I'm holding up a Battle Barn mug. We haven't got these for sale yet. So cool. These were just made by my absolutely legendary friend Paul, who just made these for me as a little present, which is very kind of him. But if by popular demand there are requests for some, we'll have to get some made at some point.
Don't be silly. Of course there will.
There might be.
Are you shitting me?
I'm just having a nice little green tea. Russ is drinking Monster Energy, and I'm doing the healthy option.
It's because I am a monster. Yeah. I'm a beastman. Is that going to be the symbol for the backdrop as well?
Yes, that is indeed the symbol for the backdrop. The sign is being made currently, which is very exciting.
The kind of, dare I say, slightly phallic tank.
Yes, it is very phallic. It's
I
quite
love that. I quite like it though. I really like it. Yeah. I love your symbol for the channel. It's so cool. It's awesome. Buddy, on just a personal note, I'm very honoured to be asked to do it, and it's going to be great. Yeah. I'm really, really hyped.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing some fun sort of competitive focus streams with just I want people to be able to have a good comp game where they can let their hair down and enjoy themselves playing the game that they love, but also just play like good lists and like actually kick the shit out of each other a bit.
I think the vibe that I'm getting, and excuse me if I'm wrong, but like fun competitive.
Yeah, basically.
That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got plans to get some, top players on here at some point to have some like versus games where I can get some actual top players facing off against each other, and I'm going to just run the deck. That's another type of game that I'd really like to get going. And then the other one...
decks.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other one that I'm going to be doing is some narrative-focused, pre-recorded games, which will be more fluffy and more like high production stuff, which will be Probably like few and far between, like one a month or something like that, because they take a while to edit.
But me and you have been brainstorming campaign ideas for that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and my mate Paul and I have got some cool stuff because he loves making really cool fluffy missions. So we're going to be doing some of that. I've got some really fun things in the tank. So we'll have to see how we get on with that. But it's all going to be coming up soon. We're just going to take it one step at a time, basically, and see how we get on with it. But it's all exciting, and I'm looking forward to just bringing some cool 40k content to you guys, basically.
And honestly, just being a bit gooey, but like that must be so incredibly satisfying from you to like literally do it with your bare hands, like an old school blokey thing to do, like build shit, like
I know,
really get in there and like
I've
do it. Like you're like 50s
finished painting
dad.
the ceiling in here just 10 minutes prior to doing this podcast. Like it's just been non-stop. Like every minute that I get, that I'm basically just in here pottering around, just like varnishing shit, painting stuff, like, you know, just putting stuff up, building things. I've got a load of like shelving that I need to build after this. So that's going to be fun.
Are you going to have armies on display there as well? Or not
Probably really? In there. I don't want to put them out on trays because they just gather dust really quickly and it shits them up, I find.
Cabinets and
stuff,
so
I've got some really big like garage style racking, and I'm going to put them all in my really useful boxes in there. So they won't be out on display per se, but I'll be able to get them out nice and easily for games and things. Nice. But it's going to be good. The thing is, this project's been a long time coming. I've been working on it for like the last sort of 9 months solidly, really. And like the year has been sort of in my brain since its sort of inception. And it's just, I really, really wanted to just have fun. Like I've enjoyed streaming in the past with other people, and I wanted to do it because it's such a fun thing to do. And I wanted to be able to do it, like involve my mates like yourself, like, you know, Paul and my mate Sam and other people that I know through the hobby and through Try Hard. And it's just going to be fucking awesome. Like, it's just such a fun thing to be able to do. And also, it's a great way to sneak a bit of Warhammer past the wife. Be like, oh, sorry, love, I'm working tonight. Got a Battle Barn game tonight, stream scheduled. You know, can't. I'm afraid can't get away with that one.
Oh my days!
So, if you want to,
although surely potentially you could potentially buy stuff as business expenses and stuff like that now going forward.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
Yeah, you
That's
can.
really fun.
I'll
see, self-employed myself. I know
exactly.
the tricks. But there you go. It's all good. So, I imagine that this will probably be like what you're going to say now, but putting the old G-dub stance on, like what you've been working on, Ed.
Well, I have been continuing to work on the Death Watch here and there, but it has been very minimal, unfortunately. I've had my little stepbrother over for the last week, which has made it tricky as anything to even get in the barn. But he's gone home today, so I should be back full time again, which is good. But not much hobbying, unfortunately, mostly just barn work. So just full steam ahead because I'm going away for a week, as I mentioned in our previous pod. Disappearing for a week. You will still be getting an extra episode, guys, don't worry, because we're doing a double this week for you all. So you will get
a double.
We got an exciting guest on for the one after this, so you should keep your ears peeled and eyes peeled for that one.
Scottish stallion.
Yeah, he is. Sexy boy. We're going to be seeing him in April.
Him a lot. He's a cool
so that's going to be great. We might as well just say here it is, right? Michael Core, our favourite TO.
Absolutely our favourite TO of all time.
We're getting him on. So we will be doing an extra episode, but I'll be away for a week. So I just really want to plow on with the barn, get it ready for April. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Then I'll do a bit of hobbying after that. Got some GSC that I need to quickly do for the May ITT. And I've also got a monolith that I need to be painting up for our event in April, as I'll be running the Necrons then. So that's going to be very spicy. So a little bit of hobbying here and there. But what about yourself? What are you working on?
Very quickly, though, just to say, a monolith.
Monolith, yeah. And I'm not even running it in hypercrit.
I'm so cool about this. I guess that's what happens when you like subject your army list to the hive mind of a team and they go, do you know what, you could do something crazy here. You could run a monolith or do this, or apparently don't run shit lists, Russ. I'm
getting
I'll get to that.
Okay, go on.
No, I will get to that. So cool monolith, love that. I'm really looking forward to seeing your monolith and stuff. Just very quickly, do they still come on those crappy flying bases?
No. They're on like a massive dinner plate base now with like a little twisty thing on it. So
that's great. Yeah. That's better. We like those. They're fine. They're the only decent flying bases that you
they are pretty good, yeah.
So, what have I been working on? So, up until literally this morning, I've been working on Dark Angels. In particular, my unit of Inner Circle companions with the Judiciaire, which I will actually finish, get to tabletop standard over the next couple of days, just by getting all the base coast done and washing. And I've been wet blending their old cloaks.
Yep.
And half of them have this cool forest green sort of colour. The other colour have this borderline heretical purple cloak and stuff. What did you think of them? I sent you a vid.
Really lovely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very beautiful. Some crispy edge highlighting.
Thank you. I want them to be a standout unit in the army because they're actually one of my favourite aesthetically looking units in the entire Dark
They look beautiful.
Army. And I didn't know this till recently, but it's Sug's favourite Space Marine chapter that I was like, yeah! Woo! Like, so that's cool. So
Sucks
that was cool.
To be her.
She's awesome.
She is.
And she's my favourite online painter, actually. And then you messaged me something which completely flipped my world upside down this morning, which is that I could run Chaos Space Marines for the upcoming team event, which I'm doing with your Tryhard lads, which I was like, that sounds fucking fun. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to have to pivot on my ass and get some Possessed painted for that and borrow units from your hive mind of peeps. So that's cool. Although very funny that I wrote a list for it, sent that to Ed, and Ed was like, yeah, they think this list is shit. So we're going to rewrite your list.
And I'm like, we'll scrap that one.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
So we will see.
I didn't even send it to them. I just saved you the embarrassment. No, Jakey, I did. Yeah.
Such an either way, we'll see how it goes. But I get to pop my heretical cherry.
Oh, I can't wait. You're going to be such a happy boy at the end of that. Can you come with a Chaos Star painted on your forehead?
Maybe, actually.
I
might ask Mel to paint it for me, actually.
That'd be really cool. I'll put a Necron one on my forehead if you do it.
That actually might be really cool.
If you do.
Oh, shit. I might see if I can get a temporary tattoo wet tattoo and just see if I can do that.
Then you realise it's henna and you've got it for a month.
Yeah, I'm teaching classes. I'm like, so that's a C sharp, and there's a fucking star.
You get invited to do a guest teaching and guest lecture at some really fancy university, and you just got loads of concealer.
And start for chaos.
Start sweating it off midway through, and they're like, "Oh my god."
Well, what demon is this? So God, popping my chaotic heretical cherry.
That's so exciting. Earlier than we thought.
Really cool.
Very exciting.
Really cool. I think I might get a taste for it, Ed.
I think you will.
I've got a funny feeling. That at the end of that weekend, I'll be like, this was the best, most fun I've ever had at an event, but we'll see.
As long as you didn't go 1 and 4, you'll be fine. Actually, wait, you can't. 1 and 3.
1 and 3.
It's only 4 games.
1 and 3. Or 0-4, God forbid. So there we go.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
It's fine.
It's
fine. Just give me some back messages in between rounds.
Don't forget, it's a team event, so we're going to try and pair you into good matchups.
Yeah. I don't need your pity. I'll have you know I'm not a bad player. I kicked your ass last time we played.
You did. So I am a bad player.
You're not a bad player. You just have a great team. So we need to go through our first bloody item of discussion today, which is the new balance update, just our thoughts on it.
Yeah.
And of course the new demon detachment, and I was fucking right again.
Yes.
I'm always right about my predictions about 10th, and you're like, I don't think that's correct. I don't think there'd be Emperor's Children in 10th. I don't think that the Chaos Demons is getting sacked off. Ugh. Fuck you, Ed. Chaos Demons are not happening this edition, and we have evidence as such from the old detachment that we had delivered to us.
Yeah,
which, to be fair, seems like a pretty decent detachment. With some stuff
cool.
Cycled out and stuff. What are your thoughts, Mr. Competition lad?
On the demons, I think cool. I found it absolutely hilarious because so one of my best mates has recently got into 40k, as in the last sort of year, and he's playing demons.
Chaos Demons.
Yeah, exactly, of course. And CK and a couple of other bits. And one of the first units that he ever painted up was the Slanesh Chariot, the only one to get axed in the latest data slate.
That's just unfortunate. I actually feel kind of sorry for him.
I don't. He needed a taste of the legend. So
Legends rule.
Yeah, so he's been legended. But yeah, no, that was quite funny. I quite enjoyed that. But no, I think to be fair, that was a gash model to build and paint, and even he said that. So
it also doesn't really belong in 40k. Like it looks a little bit too Sigmar-y,
it's silly,
right?
isn't it? But no, on the whole, I think it's a cool detachment. I think there's some good changes to the data sheets overall. I think Be'lakor sounds like he's back on the menu a little bit as well, which is nice because he should be.
What a G!
Yeah,
what a
exactly.
G!
It's going to be interesting. I like seeing demons on the table. I hope that in 11th edition they give them a proper codex again, and that they just sort of shout them up. I think it will.
Ain't gonna happen.
Fuck you.
No,
I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna make my prediction now because I have not to like blow wind up my ass, but I have been very good on predictions.
Yeah,
about
you do like blowing
so
quite
far.
a lot of wind up your own ass.
I do. Yeah, I do. Sometimes I need it after having shit storms like I've had previously.
Yep.
But I think that it's not going to happen. I think that you're going to get all of your because now that we have the four Chaos Heretical Dexes, where all of their respective demons can go. I don't know what's going to happen to Be'lakor, bless him. But just might be a CSM unit, maybe a CSM.
We shall see.
Unit.
But
yeah,
I think the demons ones were cool. I thought the new detachments are interesting. The orcs one is broken out its fucking ass. It is ridiculous.
What is the orcs one? I missed
oh my
the orcs
god! It's
one.
like they get sustained 2 on all their guns.
Is it basically a loot shooter?
Yeah, it's a shooty one, and like looters are absolutely bonkers in it. And apparently, my mate Felix was telling me this morning. He was saying that what you can do is you can put is it Zogrod? He's like the sort of one that stapled hair to his head. So he can go with 21. I think it's 20 and a little herder of the little Gretchen, right? So you go with them, and he gives them an extra 6 inches of move. They scout 9 or 6 or something stupid in the turn 1. Then he moves them 12. Then they can shoot. They're hitting on 3s. They're sustained.
Whoa, they're hitting on 3s?
Yeah, because they're Gretchen.
Orcs.
They're Gretchen.
Oh, sorry, they're Gretchen. Oh,
they're
shit.
sustained 2. And then you can and you can for 1 CP you can put them in War. So they're in War, and then they can advance. So they're doing a 12-inch move plus an advance. They're shooting, and then they charge and tie up your whole army. And they've now got a 5-up invuln because they're in War. It's just ridiculous. And they can actually like put like 6 wounds on a Catan with that much shooting. It's nuts. So the looters are really strong. I think that
looters were always a bit stingy, actually.
I think that sustained 2 might have been a touch of an overstep. I think we might see that drop to sustained 1 at some point. We might.
At least they have the wiggle room to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
If they need to.
I think they might have overstepped slightly on that one, but it's a really cool detachment. You can put stuff into the WAR for 1 CP, which is really cool. Some interesting bits. Tau seemed okay. What was the other
Tau
one?
detachment is a bit weak, actually.
What was the third one?
Was it Custodes?
Custodes, yeah, seems all right as well. So yeah, it's cool that they're doing more detachments. I'm all in for that. I love that. So more of that, please.
Can we have a decent Dark Angels one next?
Yeah, I think that the slate overall was a bit of a light touch slate, generally speaking. I didn't.
Yeah, it was very micro. Wasn't it?
I didn't see huge amounts of change. It was just a little bit of a not massive amounts of change. Although they did fix the Space Marines thing that everyone was doing, where they were doing Blood Angels, not Blood Angels.
Silly.
Which was
silly.
Which was good, because that was a bit daft.
Yeah, that is stupid. Yeah. I don't like that at all.
What are your thoughts?
Also, yeah, no, thank you. A good points all in all there, mate. Sister's got a bit better.
Yeah.
Nice to see my sister's getting a little bit better. I still think...
Soul sister, stick it in your hole, sister.
Oh, sister, no. There you go, see, ad-libs. I still think they need a little bit more buffing to be good. I think
they
that's a
should
really
just
hard
remove
faction to
Exorcists
balance.
from the game, and then buff the rest of the Forces army.
Fuck off, mate. They're great.
They should just take
the shit.
indirect off of Exorcists.
No, do you know what we need? More indirect. We need Desolation Marines again. Make Desolations great again.
No.
What could possibly go wrong? Tariff the rest of the
factions. Absolutely not. Pass.
Yes. No pass. Let me have my big stupid guns again, please.
Pass.
I love those things. Those things are the best. Sisters. Yes, make sisters a little bit better. I think they also did a nerf to Zerman, right? To give him
they
less
did.
of a
They
thing.
changed his anti-infantry 3+ to anti-infantry 5+. He had that once per game thing he could do, which I don't think was really setting the world on fire. And they also put the points up on Dire Avengers. And a couple of other random bits like wave serpents, scorpions.
Also, obviously, Slaneshi cultists / Emperor's Children got the updated points from the decks.
Yeah.
Fulgrim's really expensive, man.
Yeah, he is.
Like 380 points for Fulgrim. I don't think is worth it myself.
No,
I think that whole army's going to be.
Him.
I think that army's going to be limp dick as fuck.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think, and I've heard from some good players that
have you heard
the Demon Princes are fucking ridiculously good in that army.
Okay.
And that you can do some busted ass shit with them because they do those like mortal wounds, which are basically like grenades, and you can fall back and charge, and you just keep bouncing around all over the fucking place.
Okay. That was the one thing that I thought that army had weakness for, which was like anti-tanky kind of thing. But if you've got like big old fucking demon princes running around doing mortals and stuff for days, that's a little bit different then. You're breaking the game a little bit.
Yeah, so you're having that, and you've got like you can tell I haven't got the blinds installed. I'm suddenly like haloed and
illuminated. Obviously you're chosen by Slanesh.
Yeah.
Slanesh is like, yes, talk about me
God,
positively.
this is going to sound and look so much better next week. I'm so sorry. Even actually on Saturday. But yeah, so I think I've completely lost my train of thought now. But yes, the Demon Princes are very good. Noise Marines, I think, are decent, like popping out rhinos.
I think Noise Marines is the best thing in the decks. Noise Marines is the strongest thing in the decks.
Also, don't get me wrong, I think that their little their legionary versions are very good. Like having like those speedy, sticky objective sort of dudes are very cool.
Oh yeah, they're versatile. They're very, very versatile and very fast.
Yeah, but good early game stuff. And obviously Lucius is just
Lucius is
early game dickhead to deal with.
Yeah, he's a heartache. He's an absolute heartache. But they need some shooting.
He loves a bit.
Why they don't have Forge Fiends is weird for me.
Yeah,
because they have Mauler Fiends, but they don't have Forge Fiends.
You got Helldrakes though.
Yeah, they don't have Vindicators. Vindicators are like.
I feel like a lot of these old tanks, like the old sort of Rhino chassis tanks, are starting to roll out.
I know what you're going to say.
I feel like they're
I'm thinking that too. I feel that too. I feel like you can't get rid of a Rhino.
No, maybe not.
Because it's a fundamental cornerstone of how to make heretical armies work.
Yeah.
Right? Makes Death Guard work. It makes World Eaters work. Kind of makes CSM work a little bit, right? You can't get rid of rhinos. They're so fundamentally important.
But predators and stuff and all that sort of thing.
I was going to say.
I feel like they're sort of like slowly fading out. I don't know why. It's just looking at that.
That kind of sucks. That sucks for the heretical guys, because what are they going to get instead? What are they going to get instead?
Just ally in some CK?
Some what, sorry?
Ally in some Chaos Knights?
No, yeah, but like from a lore perspective, they should have stuff. They should have tanks. They should have like basic battlefield tanks. So I know that obviously from a lore perspective, the Primaris stuff has come in to like get rid of that in the Astartes side, right? But the Chaos side needs a kind of equivalent-y kind of unit to kind of mitigate that. At least a Rhino. They need fucking rhinos.
I am surprised they didn't put
need rhinos.
I will give you that much, because I felt like they really would have fit the bill. That makes sense,
because they're kind of modern-ish kit as
and they
well.
also look like they fit the theme really well.
Yeah.
Especially the ectoplasm launchers. They're very Slaneshi looking. Yeah.
Spraying hot goo all over your opponent.
Baby.
Gosh me. So yeah, some subtle changes, as you say, but apparently they're coming more often now, right?
Yeah. Well, every 3 months, right? So
that's great.
Yeah. All for it.
Thank you. We always like slag off GW when they get something wrong.
We're not slagging them off.
But this is something that we really like about GW at the moment, which is the concept of the data slate changes, and I'm all about this life. I'm sorry if you can't keep up, and I'm sorry if you just play kitchen table stuff. Sorry, but in order to keep a competitive game viable, you need to kind of do this. So
I'm still waiting for Chess 2.0. That balance patch has been a long time in the coming. They just nailed it. They took Chess 1.0. They were like, bang.
Did
done.
they know it was? I don't know if that's actually historically correct. I don't know. There must have been some rules updates at some point.
Anyway,
right?
Let's not get into chess balance matches. I like the idea of it.
Yeah, me too. Horses can now move 18 squares.
Horses can now turn left or right at the end of their move. We'll see how that sticks.
We have degree arcs now. Anyway, fucking hell, Jesus Christ.
That's quite fun.
So, our first non sort of news related topic today. Secondaries in current edition, and the concept of secondaries in general, like how do we score them? Is the current edition the best version of secondaries so far ever made, or the most balanced?
You start this one, mate, because I'm interested to see where you're going from, and I've done a lot of talking.
No, to be honest, I think you've done a fair amount of talking. Bless you. Cool, we love you. It's all good. So, secondaries are a really interesting part of the game, right? Because for a long time in 40k's history, it was all about that primary game, right? Like that take-and-holdy style thing, or like a very specific mission that you had to do, when rolling up. I'm not entirely sure when secondaries actually came into the game. Was it 8th?
I think it might have been 8th.
Or was it before then? I can't remember. But either way, I was lost to
I didn't play 7th
between that middle. No, I didn't play 7th either. So the 7th could have had secondaries in it or not, right?
We don't know.
I don't know.
Correct us in the comments.
Yeah, or don't. Fuck off. But obviously, like, I actually kind of like, from a design perspective, the concept of secondaries, because it means that you have a bit more game balance where your traditional hard armies that can just take hold of objectives won't be able to steamroll games. And it gives a really subtle interplay between different types of factions and how they work or whatever. I do think that 8th and 9th edition had an issue with secondaries, where you obviously had faction-specific secondaries, which are almost impossible to game balance, right?
Yeah.
Because, speaking from a Dark Angel perspective, I was absolutely spoilt with Stubborn Defiance.
Had fucking great
and I could basically wing my games from my faction secondaries.
I will
forever,
say that
right?
your faction lived and died on their secondaries in 9th edition.
Exactly.
That was a big thing.
And that's a shame, in my opinion. But I feel like the concept of like the mission deck, although it has some problems, which I'll talk about later and give the floor to you, right? I think that it is the most balanced way of doing it, and it leads to some really dynamic games, and means you cannot skew your list in a way where you can't ignore the fact that secondaries exist, because if you do, you're gonna fucking lose. You're gonna lose. Yeah. You can't rely on primaries anymore, much to my distress, running Terminators for days, right? So what are your opening thoughts on this subject, then?
I just touching on that 9th edition thing with the secondaries, the faction secondaries. I do think one thing that I do miss about those is I do think they added a lot of flavor to the game. I think that was fun. I love the idea of Stubborn Defiance as a load of Deathwing Terminators hunkering down on an objective and being like, "Fuck you, come at us." That sort of thing was really cool. And like code of conduct, as I lovingly refer to it, or code of combat for the Necrons, or like things like they had like recover archaeotech and all this sort of stuff for the I can't remember if that was the exact name, but for things like AdMech and just fun little secondaries that actually kind of made sense from a fluff perspective as well as a gameplay perspective. You were doing things that made sense for your faction. Like I think there was one of the Necrons ones was like awakening all these sort of pylons and stuff like that. It was cool. It was fun. So that I do kind of miss in a way, but I don't miss the lack of balance, because there was like huge imbalances there. Like as I just said, like you did live and die on your secondaries. If you had shit ones, and some factions just unfortunately did, you just couldn't play your faction very easily because the other secondaries that you had, like the bare basic ones, were not always the easiest to do, and it was just a bit boring. It meant that you had like a very samey gameplay loop every game of like, I'm just going to take these two, because it's basically fixed secondaries every game. I just take these two secondaries and I'll try and get them, and that's that.
Yeah.
That was my game, right?
Dude, Summer Defiance was hilarious. I didn't have to do shit.
Yeah.
My opponent had to work so hard to do what I did.
It was very much like, you make the mistake,
game.
I just stand here and like,
yeah.
I win if you fuck it up, you know.
Yeah.
So I do and I don't miss them. I feel like we are in a better place now, personally, because I do feel like the game pivots and swings a lot more now because of the random variety and the random pull of secondaries. I do think we have some proper duffers and have had some proper duffers.
Yeah.
We're getting better. I think that the latest one is better. The latest iteration of the secondary deck. We've still got one or two shiters, like the one where you just have to hold your home objective. What's it called? I've forgotten. I can't even remember the name of it. It's so boring. The one where you just have to literally hold your home objective for a
secure homeland.
Yeah, some shit like that. Yeah, that one is just really a shit secondary, because it's one of those sort of secondaries where if the game state is either neutral or you're winning, it's just a 3-point secondary. But if you're losing, it actually is like a lose more, because generally you've already lost your home objective at that point. So it's kind of a garbage secondary, and it's just not interesting from a gameplay perspective.
Or very flavorful.
Yeah, exactly. And then what I find interesting about the current secondaries is some people absolutely hate action secondaries. I know quite a lot of people, like Liam, for example, from the Liam Dempsey channel. Like he really doesn't like action secondaries, and he just thinks that like kill secondaries and all those sort of things, they're more fun. And I get it. I know that action secondaries aren't necessarily fun, but I think actually one of the ways that you balance the lethality of the edition. And I think they're actually one of the only things keeping this edition from being an all-out just fuckfest. Because
I agree.
Without them, like, let's say I've whittled down all your scoring shit, and you've just got this big old 10 block of Terminators in the middle, and then you've got like cleanse, right? And it's a close game, and you think, okay, I could cleanse this objective with these Terminators, or spread out and cleanse 2 objectives or something. Or I could just pile in and try and fight. Now you've got a bit of a question there. Whereas if you don't, if it's all just fight and kill and fuck secondaries, then it's, you know, it's not as interesting, and it's all about killing.
On that exact note as well, and I love your point on this, it keeps list building like humble as well.
Yeah.
Because not only does it affect core gameplay on the table, where, as you said, you may have those interactions where you're like, fuck, I've got nothing to score with, I'm going to have to throw a very valuable unit to score with or not kill anything, right? It all also comes down to the one thing that's holding 10th edition back from a list building perspective, because as previously discussed, it's something that I'm not a massive fan of in the current edition, which is the way that we make lists, where you have to factor in chaffy score units, aka troops, into your army construction, because otherwise you're not going to be able to score those objectives.
Exactly.
You need your scouts, you need your cultists, you need your nurglings, you need your sisters to go in and do that, right? Otherwise, you're going to be taking primaries for days or getting the odd sort of assassination or bring it down or whatever, but you ain't going to be scoring shit on your secondary deck, and that's an issue, right? And, you know, I think that's a really important part of army construction.
Yeah. Yeah. You always want to throw in the odd little scoring unit. Like, generally speaking, I'll have like a single locust destroyer, or like, you know, a random hex mark, or whatever it is, you know, some little scritty guy or a little squad of something that just comes down.
Scritty?
Just does some action somewhere and then dies. Or hopefully lives and does another one. The best one is when you get like, you know, an action, you come down, you do it, and then you get behind enemy lines and the guy's still kicking about and you're like, yeah, get in there, boy. But anyway, like, I do like that. I do think I like interactive secondaries. I do like the ones that really stretch you as well. Like the one where you have to score, you have to go and do actions wholly within 9 inches of board edges outside of your deployment zone.
Yeah.
In two different board edges. That's
a hard one.
That's a hard one, and I like that. It's because it's a good scorer. You can get 6 points on that if you do two board edges. But you also need to dedicate 2 units to do that. So those sort of ones are quite good because they really make you think, oh, you know, I'm potentially throwing away a couple of units here. But I'm going to get a lot of score out of this. So I think I like where we're at. I do think there's definitely some room for improvement here and there with some of the secondaries. And I think that they could certainly add some more interesting secondaries that, maybe some of the ones that we've seen previously from the unique secondaries of 9th edition that could just come back as a general one for everybody in the deck, something a bit more interesting, a bit of fun, like Code of Combat was a really cool secondary. I don't know if you remember how that worked. That was basically like you had to get kills with your characters and finish off people. That was really fun. Like that was a really fun mini game. And even if you just got that as a secondary for a turn, like that would just be an interesting one.
I like the idea of being a Dark Angel at the beginning of the game for that series, because obviously for each year it's a different combat deck based on what's going on narratively, potentially, right? So currently is it the Pariah Nexus currently? Is it Pariah Nexus?
Pariah Nexus, I think,
Yeah, PN,
something like that.
So like in the future it could be like a Nihilus one, which is like a Shadow War, and at the beginning of the game you get to choose a secondary and put it face down, and then when you score it you can reveal it and
that's
stuff
cool.
like that.
Yeah, I like the idea of that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that would be really cool.
That would be cool,
right?
although that does improve the possibility of cheating slightly. But
because you choose it at the beginning and you put it face down there. Right?
Anyway, but
but your opponent might as well be stacking the deck at that point.
Yeah,
but
they might. But
my point is that like that is one thing though, very quickly, that I do like and dislike about the current secondary mission system is the randomization of a deck, right? Where it's like it's really hard to game balance that, because on one hand it's like I like the fact you need to adapt your play on the fly. I think that's really cool, like that, actually. But the problem is you do sometimes get just situations where shit just comes out really bad, and it's already a dice game, right? It's already a dice game, so you already have that element of RNG.
They are getting
have
better.
Secondary RNG.
They've let you shuffle a few of them back into the deck if they're on the first turn here and there, or the one that I really don't like that they just need to completely ditch is the one where your opponent chooses 3 units that you have to kill.
Oh, that was sucks.
Well, I can't remember what it's called again.
That's so feel bad because they're
like, my guy's on my home objective.
Target.
Tempting target. That's such a
it's always
shit
home
secondary.
Objective and always
Get rid of that.
You're never gonna get. You're never gonna get.
It's garbage.
Or you're dominating to the point where you've
already got
them anyway.
It's just a shit secondary. So that sort of stuff I'm not a big fan of. One's the way it stretches you and you actually have to do it. Like the one where you have to get engaged on all fronts. That's cool. That's good.
I quite like ones where you have to take the middle ground as well.
Yeah,
I like the middle objective as well.
I'd rather a tempting target be like that you have to hunker down on an objective and survive or something.
That makes more sense.
Makes more sense. We used to have one like that, but it's difficult.
It is difficult. I mean, we're not game designers, right? The people that are paid stonkers.
I'm sure they are.
or maybe not if they work for GW. That think about this and kind of grind the shit out. But I mean, what are your thoughts? Like, what were your favourite secondaries over the years?
Yeah, that's nice.
What can they do to improve the current secondary game that we're enjoying here? But I'll be honest, I'm having the most fun that I've had in modern 40k at the moment, actually.
I'd agree with that.
And I think 10th edition, for all of its silly interactive flaws, especially at the beginning of the edition, is kind of blooming into quite a nice edition. And I think a part of me may be sad to see it go when it eventually cycles out, right? Because so far, so interesting with game balance and faction balance, where actually new factions have come out that haven't really fucked everything up. Like Eldar recently came out, right? And I actually ironically think they are more balanced than they were at the beginning edition. So they're
definitely more balanced than they were at the beginning of the edition, although Yannari have been being a little bit busted with some of their
I've heard this.
But
my point is that it's a mid to late codex.
Yeah.
By normal codex creep standards.
Oh, we would have been... We would have been under in 9th edition. Drukhari in 9th edition was about this point, and they were just ridiculous, if you remember.
And Admech. Yeah. It was the Admech Drukhari winter, right? And that was fucking worse.
that was so
The
miserable.
worst. Oh, fuck that game.
I remember that.
Fuck that. I didn't want to play at all then, right? And that's not how I feel at the moment.
No.
I feel, apart from the fact my pure Dark Angels are not exactly in the great spot right now. I do love playing them, and I still think they're great. So whatever, we'll see how it goes. I'm playing Chaos now anyway. So
the fall.
Fuck it. I've become fallen, truly.
Yeah, you have.
Truly fallen.
Truly.
But there we go. Truly fallen. Truly. So there we go. Thank you very much. That's wicked. Now, I thought about this subject the other day and I was like, this is interesting because this harkens back to the game's origin and back into the good old days of like Rogue Trader era and potentially even Second Ed, right? Where it wasn't strictly the modern system that we know as today, in as much as is 40k limited by a strictly D6 system? Oh, I have some really strong opinions on this. So you go first, please.
It definitely is. It is 100% limited by the strict D6 system. But I feel like at this point they're so fucking stuck in it and invested that it's almost impossible for them to backtrack out of it.
It is, unless you want a complete, like we had at the beginning of 10th edition, right?
Yeah.
Like a complete,
you would need to rewrite the rules from the ground up in such a phenomenal way that it would have to be, first of all, it would have to be a new edition. You couldn't do it in any other way. And second of all, it would have to be, it would really shift it would really split the player base, I think. Some people would be like, I feel like some people would be like, this is much better. And some people would miss the way it used to be. Because there's something to be said about like rolling loads of D6. And I think you would miss that. But at the same time,
I mean, you could still have that.
Yeah, sure.
I think you could still have lots of rolling predominantly of D6, and I would say that you could make it a 60% D6 game.
Yeah, you probably could.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Go on, tell me, because you seem like
technically we use D3s.
Yeah, we do D3s. I mean, that's just a D6,
right?
Really split in half.
Yeah, but it isn't right? Like mathematically, it throws up some interesting differences. But like, I do fundamentally believe that, like, I think if you had like boffins, like genius game designers, to be allowed to run with a non-D6 system, you could come up with some insanely cool shit.
Yeah, like
some insanely cool shit. And I know that like we're potentially dragging the game then into like narrative hell then, where you've got these massive swing states where hitting a 6 on a D6 is obviously far more likely than, mathematically, obviously, than hitting a 20 on a D20, right? Or 1 on a D20, right? But you do have design space for just bigger, smaller numbers within that sort of frame, right? When you're like, Drachnien causes like D20 damage. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's just like, and that's the epicness of it. That sometimes the epicness of the game is slightly restricted by this D6 system.
It is,
right?
for sure.
Can you imagine
that's why we end up with D3 plus 3 or D6 plus 6.
Exactly. Can you imagine a Warlord Titan kicking out a D100 fucking cannon, right?
Oh, it'd be mental. Flattening
fucking
shit.
Sick.
Yeah.
It'd be sick is what it would be. It'd be amazing. Absolutely amazing. But like, and this is kind of my point, is like, you know, the game is not just a competitive game, right? And there is a lot of space to like create some really cool shit. It's just, as you say, I think it's dangerous from a player-based perspective, and it requires a lot of resource. Like, but then we are living in a post D&D world now.
No, we are. Like D&D exists. It's you know, there are good reasons to use different dice systems. You know, clearly, but I do think. I do think it could be a better game for it in many ways. I do agree with that. Like, there are design spaces that could, for sure, improve things. Like, especially when it comes to things like movement and stuff like that. That's one of the things that I would find more interesting. It's not necessarily movement, damage, you know, that sort of stuff. Sure, you know, and also like hitting and all that. It could certainly be improved. But it would also make it a more complicated game. It slows down your read. That is one of the things that it would do, is slow down the read of the game.
Yeah, because you'd need to constantly reference what dice you're
using. Well, yeah, and if I roll 10 D12s, that's a lot harder to pick up and be like, hang on, what have I got here, than 10 D6.
Hold on. You're talking about a player base that's anal enough to have fucking dice loaders. Like,
yeah, but
I don't know.
You know what I mean, though. If especially if you're rolling different dice values, it's harder to like mentally just like separate those and pick up. Yeah,
great. You're not just throwing.
Yeah, and also the other thing is they're easier to knock. That is definitely something I find with D&D dice. It's because they've got so many sides. They are easier to knock and be like, oh fuck, what was that? There are downsides. There are definite downsides. It would impact the speed of the game.
But for me, the whole sort of like cleansing of external sided dice from second going into third ed was to kind of, I think, partially distance itself away from Dungeons and Dragons in terms of its like either from an IP perspective or from a cultural thing or whatever, where D&D kind of fell out of favor on the mainstream for a little bit, right? And then it was regarded as like the ultimate nerdy game, and like it's kind of had not a tiny renaissance, but a ginormous popular culture renaissance, where like now everybody loves D&D again, as they quite rightly should, because it's a really important game and it's awesome. But you know, I don't know. It's interesting. And by that same token, you don't have to use all the different sided dice, right?
No, of course not. You could just use like D9s or D10s or whatever.
D10s, D8s.
D8s, whatever. D12s, D20s.
I think it would help charging and stuff like that, right? Which I think is a mechanic that's always been wrong.
That's very true, yeah. Yeah, because rolling 2 dice, they obviously always sort of even out at 7 most of the time. They average out at 7 most of the time. It's like they're
I would change charging by giving all units a basic charge distance plus 1 D10 or something.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
And then you might get a massive swing.
Yeah.
But then you always have a minimal amount of charge.
As someone who continuously fails charges, it'd be quite nice.
Well, I just think it's one of the cruelest elements of playing a melee-based army in an edition, because we all know that it's a predominantly shooty-based game, right? And it's very hard to like be steamrolled with bad rolls and shooting when you're rolling so many dice, right? But that one crux charge move. Where, you know, even with CP rerolls or whatever, where you got something silly like a 5-inch charge and you roll a 1 and a 4 or something, it's so feel bad, and I think it's so unnecessary. Where if you just give all units a basic charge range of 3 inches plus a D8 or something,
you know, if you get a double 1 in AOS, you fail.
What, charging?
Yeah, even if you're 2 inches away,
stupid fucking
fail.
game.
Like
stupid
completely.
Game.
Like
I have such a weird thought on Sigma. We're going to have to do this as a topic some week. Like, is Sigma the best, worst game ever? Right?
The worst game. I don't like the idea of the double turn. That wigs me out. I still can't get.
Well, this is it, right? You get like sinister shit like the double turn and stuff, and yet another part of it is like the miniatures are the greatest minis ever created. Right?
I wish we had like some of their mini design.
But then the other half of the thing is the game's fucking weird and lame, and it's not very good. And like the old world is
look
far
at this
superior.
Gigantic rat man that's like summoning a demon, and then they're like, and here you go, 40k. It's another Space Marine lieutenant. This one's holding a flamer. And then next month we've got another Space Marine lieutenant for you. And this one's holding a shield.
Why are you going Brian Butterfield?
Next week we've got a new Space Marine lieutenant for you. And guess what? He's holding a smaller Space Marine lieutenant, who is in turn holding a smaller Space Marine lieutenant.
Hoisting crispy owl.
Yeah, hoisting crispy owl.
One bean. One baked bean. Like 1% of our audience is going to get that joke.
Someone got it last time.
Yeah, no, they were like, yes! The comments and stuff. But like, I don't know. There's a lot. We're going to have to do that, like Sigma versus 40k.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like that. Yeah, see, I'm so tempted to write it down, but I'm not going to. Fuck you. But what do you think? Have I literally lost the plot? Like, am I just a raving old man?
I think you are.
That is just like raving to the gods, going like, why? And in actual fact, we have a perfect system, and I should shut the fuck up and just embrace the D6. You know, we'll see. It's just a regret of mine to bring it up. Speaking of
like
regrets.
like a D6.
Right, random. That's fine. Just imagine you twerking with D6s on your ass, but there we go. So, biggest hobby regrets, Ed? Do you have any?
Yeah, meeting this guy called Russ at an event once.
Fuck off. So mean. You're so mean. You met your work wife. Like, are we getting a divorce? Are we getting a work wife divorce?
I love you too much for that.
Yeah. See. See, we have history now. It's fine.
You did such great. No, I'm joking.
I do. I have no complaints.
Exactly. No.
But who his hair is for?
Greatest hobby regrets. Let me have a think. So I've got a couple, I think. So one of them is I've lost my original Nightbringer. I don't know where he's gone, and it's really annoyed me.
That's sad.
Yeah, and I think he's like hiding in my dad's house somewhere in a cupboard that's just like, it's like a pocket dimension. I don't know where he's gone, and it's really annoyed me. I had put a load of my old Necrons somewhere, and I found a load of them, but I didn't find him, so he must be somewhere else. But yeah, it's just like old models, like misplacing old models that were really precious. That's one of my hobby regrets. It's just, I should have taken better care of them. We've already been over my Necron soup and what happened with that. For those of you that didn't listen to that episode, I put 20 Necron warriors and a couple of metal ones in a like a pickle jar full of paint stripper, and then promptly forgot about them for about how long did I say? It was like 16 years.
16, yeah. You curried your Necron.
And that came back, and they all looked like they'd just peeled all the paint off, and I was like, yes. And then I put a rubber gloved hand in, and then it was just
disintegrated.
Soup. It was soup.
Apart from your Overlord,
yeah,
right?
the Overlord is like,
I
am the cleanest Overlord in existence. There's no paint on me. It's beautiful.
Genius. What a lad surviving that long.
I mean, luckily, I've never sold any of my armies. I do feel like had I done, I would have regretted it, because I've heard so many people tell me that they've sold armies and they've regretted it. What about you? I'll have a think about another one while you tell me one of yours.
Doing stupid shit when I was a kid.
Go on.
Painting my Marines 5 or 6 layers because I couldn't decide what chapters to like. No, barely. No too thin coats for me.
No, that was so good.
Breaking up my Hero Quest original box and not looking after my original Hero Quest. Same for Gorkamorka. Same for Blood Bowl. So I've got some old box games that I just trashed when I was a kid, and you're a silly fucking kid. You don't know better, right? And selling some odd bits. Fortunately, I've never sold an army, but I sold some old vintage Beastman shit, which I'm now regretting.
Oh, I bet you are.
So now I'm gutted about that. And yeah, I guess, a part of me, because I've got a Sigma army, I've got a Soul Blight Gravelord Sigma army, and a part of me is kind of regretting buying it. But then the other half of me is like, it's just so cool. It's just so cool. But then a part of me is like, am I ever going to play Sigma?
Yeah.
And I'm like, probably not.
That is actually probably one of mine as well. Is like, I bought just some Sigma shit that you don't stuff, need. And I've never, I did play some, but I just, in fact, actually, I can't say I regret that because that's how I met my mate Paul. So
yeah, you said this.
Yeah, so I can't regret it, but like, I've sold basically all of it now. But it's just a game, regardless of how beautiful the models are. I don't have the time to get into it.
I guess it depends whether, and why I'm keeping my Sigma stuff, my one Sigma army. I did actually have 2 Sigma armies at one point, but I sold those.
I had like
and I was
2 or
not.
3.
I had Kharadron Overlords as well, and like the old dwarfy lads.
I know the ones.
And I sold those, and I don't actually regret selling them at all, actually. But the Soulblight Gravelords, I think it depends whether you are just a 40k player or a miniatures person, right?
Yeah.
And a part of me is like, actually, I'm kind of a miniatures person as well. Like, I like weird shit like Warhammer 40k Second Ed or Blood Bowl or Mordheim when they bring Mordheim back. So like, I'm cool with owning it for now. I'm cool with owning it and admiring the sculpts and being like, actually, these are lovely. Like, these are great. I love gothic horror, so I'm actually really cool with it. Like, if it had been something a bit more boring, then I would have probably sold my Sigma stuff like tomorrow, if that makes sense. So buying into Sigma, I guess, like, again, we need to do a proper talk down on Sigma.
Yeah.
Not getting stuff when I should have in terms of like vintage stuff, really, which is interesting considering how expensive vintage stuff. Wish I would have got some Legion of the Damned stuff.
Yeah,
in retrospect.
they're so expensive now.
Wish I would have got some Dogs of War stuff for fantasy because that's one of my things.
I've got a good one.
Yeah, go on.
I wish I hadn't listened to my fear of perfectionism for so long. when it came to painting.
Wow.
I think for me, I had a real like lockout when it came to starting painting armies for a few years. This was a few years back. I just couldn't commit to a scheme because I just didn't want to commit to a scheme because I was afraid I was going to pop it up.
Was it like
I was just
like a sort of hobby anxiety?
Yeah, that hobby anxiety. And I'm sure loads of people deal with this all the time because I've had it, and I know other people have had it. I've talked to. Like you don't know exactly what you want, and you just can't quite nail down the scheme. When you're like, do I do it? Do I not? And you're not quite comfortable with your painting level or your skill level or whatever, and you think, I'll fuck it up, and you just don't start, and you just keep not starting, and then like 9 months later, you've just got like loads of built models, and and you're playing with the grey army with your mates, and it's just like, if I'd have just spent all this fucking time painting models, I'd actually have a painted army by now, and I'd probably be good enough that I shouldn't be worrying anyway. Do you know what I mean?
It's interesting because like you're always the worst painter until someone compliments you otherwise, and then you're like, oh, actually, I'm not that bad.
Yeah,
I'm all right. Like
I did eventually get over it, clearly, but it just took me a lot longer than it should have done. Like,
but you know, if you weren't of that personality, that could have been it at that point, right? That could have been your hobby.
I know loads of people who've just got grey armies and they never paint, and like it's a shame. You should just take the plunge and try. If you're out there and you're listening to this and you're like, that's me, just like go out there, commit to an easy scheme and try it. Just do a test. Just try it.
And also, again, as previously discussed, try different painting companies as well, potentially, because you may have a way better time with other ones too.
If you cock it up so badly that you cannot stand what you've painted, get yourself a pickle jar, stick them in it for 16 years, come back, and then enjoy the soup.
Well, I think
just strip them.
Don't get me wrong. This hobby is really. I don't know how this hobby is so successful in a way, right? Because all of us have got to do so much of such different elements of the hobby to even enjoy it on a base level, right? Because you've got to be really good at making models. You've got to be really good at painting models. You've got to be really good at playing the game. There's a whole library of fucking lore and stuff, right? And it makes sense that some people, I know some really good borderline professional players that are really shit at the hobby, and vice versa. And there's some incredible hobbyists that are shit at playing and never play the game, right? Which represents the fact that you don't necessarily have to be always good at everything, right? But I do feel that if there is, you know, if you don't like to paint, fine. If you don't like to make models, fine. But I feel like you need to do one of those two things, really, because at the end of the day, unless you just get stuff commissioned, which is obviously incredibly spenny and with the way that the meta moves is not necessarily viable unless you've got a serious stream of income for it, right?
I can't afford to do that, unfortunately.
No one can. No one really can. Like a 0.1% of us can, right? But like my point is that like you do need to get your head around the hobby part of the hobby at some point, ideally, right? And I think you're right. You've just got to get stuck in and learn to enjoy it. When I was younger, when I was a kid, I always found like the hobby side of the hobby, as in the painting side of the hobby, to be the most laborious and the most boring, and I hated it. I hated doing it.
See, I was the other way around when I was younger. I loved that side of it, and I wasn't that much into the gaming, and now I'm the other way.
Interesting. Well, this is
mixed now. But.
Well, I've learned actually to love painting, and I find it almost zen and like really cool and like just something really creative and a lovely thing to do, right? And actually, you've got to learn to fall in love with that a little bit, right? And it's like, and I think it's like anything in life, being a teacher myself, right? It's this self-perpetuating element of you feel better about a skill when you get better at a skill, but you have to be humbled for a little bit, understanding the fact you might not be great off the bat.
Yeah.
And as an adult, if you are coming into the hobby as an adult, that's a really prideful thing that you need to swallow, that you feel like a kid again, that you're shit at something.
Yeah.
And it's okay. That's okay. It's okay to be shit.
Yeah.
Like, and as you said, from the perfectionism perspective, it's okay to be shit at something, right? But just swallow a bit of humble pie and go, I'm probably going to be shit, but I will get better.
You see, you and I are such different painters. Like, if you've ever been on voice chat to me while I'm painting, like, you'll know what I'm like. I am just miserable the entire time. I'm so vehement. Like I just sit there and I'm just like, it's almost hate this.
You are just like gritting your teeth through it. Well, I'm just like, oh, la 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 la.
You're like Bob Ross.
It's happy little accidents.
Yeah, exactly.
I got like purple. I got purple pink tux.
Yeah. I hate every second of it.
I think it's because I want to paint armies with a lot of personality. Yeah. And I'm in that place of like.
No, I'm joking. I don't hate it. Obviously, I enjoy it, but I find like for me, it's sometimes
you get well stressed.
Sometimes it's hard work, and like if I'm rushing it, which a lot of the time I am, it's stressful. Some armies I really enjoy painting. Like I really enjoyed painting my knights. That is an army that
that looks great as well. That looks great as well.
A problem with.
I have to be honest. The only time I didn't like painting was ironically when I had a very nice glass of whiskey and I was being told to paint a fucking Ridge Runner or whatever it was at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
I quite enjoyed that.
With a terrible guide where you
were
like, try brush something dark over a light zenithal.
Step didn't need to be in there. I took that out. But that actual guide I've used since.
I'm sorry.
And it's actually amazing. No.
No, before you get all high and mighty about
step
this.
Out.
Oh, I'm sorry. The step that you wanted me to do and spend all of my time doing.
No, the zenithal was already in there. That you just needed to dry brush a colour on thickly, and you did that.
Excuse fucking me! A dark colour dry brushed over a zenithal? Are you high?
No. Take the zenithal out, all right? Okay, and then it's fine. I did the other one without the zenithal. No, I did the other one without the zenithal, and it was perfect.
Great. It would have been fun. Yeah. Yes, there's a very fundamental component there, though, that you're missing out, where it's like, take the thing that doesn't work on the thing, and it works.
I did.
No shit. Yes, I know, but I was your fucking crash test dummy going like, this ain't gonna fucking work, eh? Yeah. The grey's not coming through over the white.
I've never seen someone manage to get so much hair off of a paintbrush and onto a model in my life. I was tweezering that off for like 2 days. I was like,
I'm rough. No. I'm rough-handed. My hands are like
God, honestly.
You have no idea. Has your orange brushes arrived yet?
No, not yet.
Oh,
weirdly.
Interesting.
Weirdly,
I need to check in with you about that.
Yeah,
please do. You should be with you by now.
I'll have a check.
There you go. So, what are your hobby regrets, guys? Let us know. Like, you get mad and drive like a fucking psychopath like me.
I'm going to blame the whiskey.
Die! I was tired and I was annoyed at you that I was like being.
Also, I mortified you with my drive home. Apparently.
God, you fucking drive like a rally car driver. I'm like stuck in my seat.
You were like medium left, and I was like,
I'm like, I have shit to live for. I have a family.
So do I.
I like to fucking eat.
Mate,
like, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
You were fine.
Fucking hell. God damn. There's country driving, and then there's fucking that.
Yeah,
that was like
fun. I loved it.
Shocking.
I've never seen anyone hold on to 3 handles at once.
Fuck me. I was like there.
You had your toe hooked around one of them.
And I was like, fucking hell, Christ. I mean, who am I to comment? But like, fuck me, dude. Like, you are nuts. But there we go.
It was fun.
Love you. Fucking psycho.
Love you too.
Right. So, who is the most powerful of the ancient pantheon of Chaos, Ed? And who is the weakest?
It's obvious.
Don't you fucking say it.
I think it's
Don't you
obvious.
fucking say it, you troll. You little troll.
No, it's not going to be who you think it is. I think it's obvious. Nurgle.
Oh.
You thought I was going to say Zeech because I'm a Zeechy little motherfucker, but it's not Zeech. It's not who you'd think it would be because I know who you're going to say, and it's not him either. It's definitely Nurgle. And I'll tell you why.
Well, I'm going to strap myself in. Go for it, because I love this.
I think
this is
the
great.
reason why I think it's Nurgle is because if you think about it, right, Nurgle is the god of life, death, and decay, right? He is the full circle.
The circle
entropy
of life.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, and if you look at the universe, that is basically what incorporates the entire universe, all right? We're not just talking about a bit of violence, a little bit of blood, a bit of skulls.
Ultra-violence.
We're talking about everything. We're talking about all life, all encompassing, all death, all decay, all rebirth. And there is a lot of that going on in this universe. It is a big old place. And I think, therefore, he has the most to draw on. And I know that also, obviously, Slaanesh has a lot to draw on. There's a lot of bad shit going on. But the life, death, and decay and entropy and all that, there is so much more of that going on everywhere, across every race, that you cannot possibly ever outperform that in any way with the other
It's the great inevitability, I guess.
It is. It is literally the great inevitability. He has to be the most powerful.
I feel like I've been like chess.
I feel like I've been
3D chess.
I've hoodwinked you.
And I genuinely have been, because I was totally ready to go down
come
another route. And I will go with that other route.
You tell me your reasoning.
No. I just want us to sit on that for a second and just go, love it.
Squelch.
Love it. I squelch. Fucking hell, didn't mean that one about to be it. Thank you very much. I weirdly now 110% agree with everything you just said.
You didn't think about it, did you?
No, I didn't.
You were so locked in on Khorne. I know what you're like. You were so like, I am. There's so much violence in the world. I know where my head's at.
My hippie headspace. But yeah, you're right. It's the great inevitability. It doesn't matter whether you are the most technologically advanced Eldar / Necron to some degree, I suppose, ever, although they can kind of cheat that, or a worm, or a toadstool, or whatever, right? Like, it is the inevitability of the cycle of life, and Nurgle will always be powerful in that regard. He does always win. In the end, he does always win, and he broke a Primarch from that logic alone, right?
Yep.
Arguably one of the toughest and most hardy of all the Primarchs, too. Yeah, wow, fucking, I just literally feel checkmate.
You see, the thing is,
your strongest argument.
If you look at the
made.
argument that Khorne wins because of violence, there is a huge amount of violence in the 40k universe, right? Obviously, it's a violent place. And you look at the amount of blood spilled and skulls on the Skull Throne and all of this sort of stuff. Of course, he must be a mighty fucker, right?
Yeah.
He has to be, right? There was a lot going on that would give him power there. But every single drop of blood spilled also empowers Nurgle, because it will rot.
I don't know if that's true, actually. I don't know if that's true.
Of course it will. It's gonna rot. It's gonna, from life comes death, and that death is gonna rot.
Yeah, but I'm not sure.
I'm
not sure if actually, like, the fact that it was actually.
Are you talking about if it was done in his name?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sure,
right.
but I'm talking about general violence.
Yeah, and I think they might have, like, and again, we're also quite metaphysical. My choice would have been Khorne, by the way.
Yes,
just want to make this official. Yeah. I think Khorne is, and you're right, and you've 3D chessed my own argument in advance, which is like, obviously it's literally in the far future of the year 40, there is only war. There's only war. War. It's literally the god of war. Like, Khorne is the god of war, and there is only war in the 41st millennium, right? Therefore, Khorne is like got that big roided form on the old corny throne, right? Corny.
Corny.
And
so corny.
In terms of an unstoppable force, right? Khorne has come the closest, I would argue, out of all of the Chaos Gods to eradicating humanity as we know it, right? Like, when Guilliman was like on his way back to Terra, he did that like sneak attack, fuck you, on Terra, and nearly took Terra from like that gnarly demon invasion that he did just because he fancied it, right? And in terms of like, if we're going to get a little bit non-metaphysical in terms of being quite literal, because the great game is also a literal one where like the Chaos Gods do invade each other's planes from time to time, and they do actually have physical conflicts, right? It's not always an influence metaphysical thing, right? I do believe that if Khorne wanted to, he could fucking squash one of the other Chaos Gods. If he focused all of his attention, right, and was like, fuck you, he could burn the Garden of Nurgle down, right?
But
like,
it would
if he really wanted to.
Irritatingly.
Well, I don't know. Depends. if the Emperor does it, possibly not.
Wow, yeah, that depends.
Because Nurgle is still licking his wounds from like the Star Child burning him. So, like, he's not recovering from that. So, obviously, we're talking about Khorne here, not the Emperor. Yeah. But my point is that, like, Khorne's a fucking like, G.
He is a
G. That motherfucker is out. And I recently found out, by the way, that old Scarbrand taking a chunk was Tzeentch's influence, by the way. I heard.
Oh, was it? Did he do a bit of whispering?
Yeah.
Like, hey,
he did. He was like, you can take. Yeah, I don't think Scarbrand was mentally aware, but he was literally. What you got on, Joker? You got it. You can do it. You just strike him at the right
He's
time.
got a little weak point right behind his ear. If you just plant that fucking axe of yours right up his crease, I'll tell you when.
Go.
Now, oops, you fucked it.
flick.
I mean, that to me personifies everything, right? That Scarbrand was at the time Khorne's greatest champion, right? So in terms of the skulls that motherfucker could take, and how does Khorne deal with him? Flicking him. Just flicks him. And he goes billions of light years of distance, just fucking like scraping his skull on the ground. Just dude, fuck that. Like, dude, blood for the blood god. I'm getting a bit corny these days.
You are, I've noticed.
I'm kind of a little bit like, oh god, I'm looking at chain axes a little bit weird, and I'm like, fuck, this is not good. This is not fucking good. The World Eaters Army is looking really good right now.
Yes.
No, oh, shit. So
I feel the warp overtaking me.
Me? No, but those fucking... okay, so I do get angry sometimes. Who is the as you can attest to on occasion as well?
Usually me that's causing it, to be honest.
Honestly,
and definitely the Tzeentch to your Khorne.
So weakest / strongest. So who are the weakest there? Who's the weakest, Ed?
I don't know. It's a tough one. I do actually weirdly feel like Tzeentch is probably the weakest. I feel like he's weirdly on the back foot, but I do feel like he's got a lot of underhand sort of plays, and I feel like that's actually kind of his jam. Like, he kind of likes to come from an underdog position and sort of almost play off the others against each other with their own strengths. So he's not necessarily, he doesn't need his own real power. I think he does have clearly a fuckload of power. He is an incredibly powerful entity. Let's not undersell him, but I think compared to some of the others, he may not be quite as powerful in the traditional sense. I just think he's different. I think he's built different, and I think he thinks different. There is, a lot that's almost sort of metaphysical because magic is an inherently almost otherworldly concept. It's not quite the same as like brash violence and death and decay and sort of lust, and these are all sort of concepts.
A little bit more subtle, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a little bit more
magic
subtle
itself is actually more of a thing that exists in the universe in a strange way. So I do think there is obviously a lot of magic in the universe, and it's also linked to the warp in a way that's different. So I think he's clearly powerful. I just don't think. I think Slaanesh is the newest god. There's so much fucking wrong and shit going on that I think she's really quite cooked up at the minute. So I think Tzeentch, I'd say, as much as it behooves me rather to say it, I think he's probably one of the least powerful ones. But I just think I don't think he would, wouldn't be able to go toe to toe. Is what I'm saying. It would be an underhand battle.
For whatever reason, Tzeentch is my least favorite Chaos God.
Yeah, he's my favorite though.
Yeah, I know he is. You reek of Tzeentch. But
I do, don't I?
That was very Ned Stark.
You reek of Tzeentch.
But it's true. Like, I hate the trolly element, and I think that obviously Tzeentch can be very self-destructive in its changer of ways nature, right? Where it's like, I'm going to sacrifice my greatest champion and turn him into a spawn because and it's just like, great, Tzeentch, you do the random thing again, like well done, here's a cookie, like, well done for just being weird. It's like that pretentious douchebag classmate that's just a fucking hipster, and you're just like, don't be that fucking guy. That's how I kind of view Tzeentch. But I do think they are insidiously powerful and can make massive changes in the ways of reality by doing one subtle thing, right? I actually think the weakest Pantheon member is Slaanesh.
You do you?
Because I think Slaanesh is obviously always tied to the excess of mortals, right? And I think that there aren't some races that are entirely unable to be corrupted by Slaanesh at all. Obviously, humanity is a bright star in the universe and very delicious to feed upon, as are the Eldari, right? But if you take those two species away from Slaanesh, I feel like Slaanesh is somewhat wanting, where it can't really get off on the excess with orcs, really.
Yeah,
apart from right? Orcs are they just want to fight, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to fuck necessarily, and it's like. If you have all these puritanical races, I feel like Necrons, again, not very Slaanesh-y. Tyranids, not very Slaanesh-y. I feel like you can't get a foot in unless you're talking about the two great races, aka Eldari and humanity, which granted do quite a lot of the universe, right? But apart from that, I think Slaanesh kind of struggles to get a foothold in, where it's all about excess. But like I say, if you get more puritanical outliers, like you can't really get in there compared to, quite literally, compared to...
I've been trying not to make that joke about getting a foot in for the last 30 seconds.
Exactly. Compared to, like, war as a byproduct from Khorne, or death as a byproduct from Nurgle, or just the changing of shit, right? The inevitable change of reality, which is where Tzeentch comes in. All of those things are, like sort of just churning away, and, you can't really stop those things metaphysically, but, like, that excess, that need to push it or whatever is quite specifically an issue for humanoid races /humanity /Eldari. And I feel like that's a harder foothold to get in myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It does.
Valid?
Yeah, valid, I'd say. Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
Cool.
Very interesting.
But I could definitely see you as a little Tzeentch cultist.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely.
9 fingers or something.
You'd like stab me and I'd be like, haha, that was an illusion. I'm really over here. And then you'd stab that and I'd be like, haha, I was actually the original. Oh shit.
You little trolly bastard. And I just love Nurgle.
I know. Nurgle's great. I do like Nurgle as well. Like, I think Nurgle and Tzeentch are my two favorites for sure.
Interesting. I would have said Nurgle and Slaanesh, but these days I think it's Nurgle and Khorne.
Oh,
it's the classic too. I think it's the classic too. I love Khorne. I'm really getting into Khorne.
Yeah.
I'm really scared about how much I enjoying Khorne now.
Yeah, it's great.
And I think when I'm throwing Possessed at my opponent's face, I'm going to... Oh, yeah. No, so weirdly, I'm not so much into that type of Khorne. It's Khorne!
Goes right through you.
Yeah, I think my digestive system would have issues. But, like, I don't know, like...
It is
I do quite like the idea of throwing frothing...
You'll have to try... you have to borrow Paul's World Eaters and play them on the bar, and they're here. Sure, he wouldn't mind lending them to you. Give them a go.
Yeah, I might have to do that. That might be quite fun. But there we go. Let us know your favourite Chaos... Well, not favourite, but let us know your most powerful Chaos God.
Yeah.
Someone will be like, Malice!
Yeah, I was waiting for... I was actually waiting for you to bring up Malice. I'm surprised you didn't.
Fuck Malice. Yeah. Fuck Malice. I'm not into Malice.
No.
Malice is the Raven Guard of the...
I'll tell you what else you're not into.
What's that? What?
Liking.
Oh my God, no!
Commenting.
It happened again!
Or subscribing.
This is the worst one.
This is the worst
This is the worst one.
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
Shit.
Look how embarrassed you are. You should be embarrassed. This has been a great one for me. I've been thrilled. I was waiting for you to say it. I thought you almost said it. I tried to set you up a couple of times earlier on, and you didn't even take the bait. I was like, okay, all right. You carry on, Russ.
No, I was doing so well. I was such a good
last week. The last 2 weeks. In fact, you did really well. So
this is the worst one.
This is
like we're literally at the end. Literally at the end.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, fuck a duck. Sorry, everybody. I hate you so much.
Mind.
You're so Tzeentchy for doing this. I fucking hate you because
love it.
You're in so much trouble. When this rolls off, I'm gonna have a fucking go. You're gonna double barrel.
I do this every week. It's such a fun mini game.
Oh fucking hell! God, I hate you. So. Like, comment, subscribe, apparently, although it feels like a fucking afterthought right now. Be serious. Fuck off, Ed. You're in so much fucking trouble. Like, goddamn.
It's your own fault. It's nothing to do with me.
I know, but you
it's
could
your
have
job.
stepped in at any point. Fuck me.
I do the editing. That's...
Okay, blood for the blood gods. It's going to take your fucking skull for corn next. So, please like, comment, subscribe. We are on various social media platforms, such as Instagram. Please click below. Go on the Discord. The Discord is probably the most fun place to hang out in regards to, like, chatting with us. It's well fun. We're getting new people every day. It's fantastic. And thank you to our awesome Patreons. Like, you guys are the best. We do, in fact, have a Patreon. And we're going to be doing a hobby hangout soon.
Yes.
So
probably near the end of the month.
To hang out. Yeah, we get to hang out with our Patreons and Discord members, and just have a good old fun time. So come and hang out with us when we do that, and watch Ed get stressed when he's trying to paint.
No,
and
I don't get stressed. I get angry.
Do you? Speaking of, you're in fucking trouble.
You're in trouble for not doing your job. Anyway. So, it's it's been a fantastic episode. Thank you guys for tuning in as always, and we will see you in the next one. Love you all.
Ciao. Fuck off. You're in so much fucking trouble. I cannot believe in good faith that you sat there like a fucking joker for the last hour and a half nearly. You fucker. You are in so much fucking trouble.